even with the childcare initiative that's been brought in, there aren't going to be sufficient subsidized spots you can guarantee. And if you don't have money, $10 a day is still unachievable. If you're I mean, I think it fundamentally is a block that people have about providing money to folks, even though nobody ever questions so many other areas where people get money, whether it's, when rich give money to their kids or whatever. It's a block about poor people is all that I can see. And I guess if you've never experienced that, you presume that everybody else who doesn't have money is just out to get yours, if that's, but so I hear it from a number. And when I was first starting doing this, I heard it from a number of economists, and then I went and looked, and every argument they made didn't hold up. And then sometimes they'll end up saying to you, well, morally, I agree with you. Well, that's not helping. you know you may morally agree, but you actually have to look at a more progressive approach. And maybe those old myths and stereotypes about poor people, you should really question how you got to that place and where you've seen them borne out. And Will Robertson, who's a young up and coming, I'm not sure if he's an economist, but he did some research. He was hired by one of my colleagues to look at, for instance, CERB. One of the theories was that all these people stayed home and didn't work. And when I started talking to the people who actually believed that, most of them were very privileged people who had their own kids who were eligible for CERB because they were students and stayed home. And I was like, I'm sorry, talk to a few poor people who got it. They weren't just sitting around on their butts, doing nothing. They were actually doing all kinds of other things, trying to make ends meet. And CERB was great for them for a period of time, but there's a whole bunch of people that then got turfed off benefits because of the punitive, mean-spirited attitude towards poor people. So I agree with Sheila and with Leah. I think it's, the problem is that it gains traction because it's people who are seen as credible, who identify as feminists, who maybe have never actually worked in the trenches with the people who are most in need. Let's remember that the Status of Women Committee that proposed childcare also proposed a guaranteed livable income. We've got childcare now. When are we going to get the guaranteed livable income?